time is it? It must be sports time with halftime. Howie.
Thank you very much, Sid Hill. And if you follow high school football, you've seen some unbelievable upsets. It all started early in the year where Floral Park upset Roosevelt. See, Mike Speen, I got you back for that one. But no upset this year was bigger than in Week 6. Let me set the stage. Actually, Week 7. Going into Week 7, Hewlett in Conference 2 had a 4-2 record. The previous week, they beat Levittown Division 35-7. At the time, Division was a 4-1 team. Hewlett was facing, in Week 7, Great Neck South, who was 0-6. Great Neck South had just lost to Valley Stream Central 26-6. On paper, it looked like Hewlett would roll over Great Neck South, no problem, and be in the playoffs. And here we have the upset of the year. I'm calling the show Great Neck's Great Upset. And let's meet the coach, Jim Morrow. Jim, how are you?
Good. How are you, Howie?
I'm doing great. And let's meet Michael Messina. Michael, how are you?
Good.
And Greg Newman, how are you?
How are you?
Coming up later in the show, Michael's twin brother, Steve Messina, and the man who made it happen, Mark Antar, with 5 touchdowns. Jim, going into that game, you just lost. You were 0-6, first-year coach. Hewlett was flying high at 4-1. What were you feeling going into that Hewlett game?
Well, we had planned a strategy that, to keep the score down. We definitely didn't think that we were going to upset them, but we thought we could hang with them. The whole year we had mentioned that we were a good team. The 4 seniors that were our captains are good football players, some of the best football players I've seen. We just have a young team. If we could control and get the right matchups, we knew we could, play well against them. I wasn't expecting them, to come out. I think they might have been looking past us to Southside. To Garden City, and we were looking at Southside as a possible first win.
Michael, at 0-6, a lot of players just mail it in the rest of the way. You saw Hewlett coming in. They had just beaten Division 35-7. They were on a roll. Did you really think you had a chance against Hewlett in Week 7 going into that game?
Well, Hewett's like one of the teams that you hear Hewlett, and it's like that's a big school, a big football team, and they usually win a lot of games. But we were coming to that game, we were like, even if they beat us, we want to show that we are a good team, we can play with them. And lo and behold, we just came out top and we won.
Greg, 0-6, a lot of teams are mailing it in. Hewlett, 2 years in a row in the playoffs. They had a quarterback at the time, Nick Castrovilla, leading the county in touchdown passes. A receiver, Mark Wallstadter, leading the county in touchdown receptions. Not too many people, I know I didn't, give you a prayer of winning this game.
Well, we had heard through the grapevine that they were prematurely sure of winning. They were all ready to go to the playoffs. And, that's definitely got our team all psyched up, and it definitely got them mad. And I had heard through my friends down there, too, that, they were like, yeah, we're going to beat you, we're going to beat you. And, when you're put in that position where they're looking at you and they're like, yeah, we're going to win, it definitely gets your team fired up, and I think that was part of their downfall.
All right, let's go to some of those videotapes. And, Coach, this had to be such a great win for you because not only did you beat a quality team, but you really knocked them out of the playoffs. And I think you can hang your hat on that one great upset you had.
Yeah, it was definitely the positive part of my first year. Our goal was not to go 0-8.
Here we go. Let's look at what's happening here, Coach.
We actually just scored our first touchdown. We kicked off and caused the fumble immediately following the kickoff to set up another score.
At that point, do you feel...
That's why I knew we had some momentum.
You had some momentum right there.
We wanted to carry it out as long as possible.
After the first touchdown, Michael, did you feel that, hey, this could be our day?
Yeah, we were really pumped up, and in the huddle, we were all like trying to get psyched, and it was hard to get the plays from our quarterback because we were all yelling so much. So we had calm it down before the play and just go fire out off the line, just block until Mark and
Greg, when you made that huge play on special teams right after a touchdown to get the fumble on the kickoff. Did you really feel fired up? Did that really just fire up the whole team?
Yeah, we had a lot of momentum from that point on. We had a lot of momentum going into it. And, just starting off with a nice game, nice hits, it definitely gets you going for the rest. So it set the tone for the rest of the game.
And the big guy against Hewlett was Mark Antar. Scored 5 touchdowns that game. Might have been a down season, but for that day, Mark Antar was a superstar. Talk about his performance. And he'll be coming up later in the show.
Yeah, one of his best performances. He's been consistently, throughout the year, gaining yards, running hard, playing tough. I think a good addition to the backfield was moving Steven Messina as a fullback, who was originally a guard, to get someone to block for Mark to open up the holes a little more. Once he could get past that interior line, he would do the rest. He'd run over the D-backs and, just keep going until he had no energy left.
Michael, talk about the line play because if Mark doesn't get great line play from you and Greg and the rest of the line, he doesn't score 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, we had to really step it up this game. The past games we were a little bit flat. We weren't like blocking that hard and blocking to the whistle. But this game we were like psyched up. We were really pumped and we were blocking all the way to the whistle was blown. And by the time he scored 5 touchdowns, we had one.
Talk about that, Greg, dominating on the line, because a lot of people felt that the strength of Hewlett's team was their receiver and their receivers and their backs, but if you could call a weakness on Hewlett is that this was not their strong point, their line. Did you feel you could dominate their line? Did you feel that during the game?
Well, a lot of credit to the coaches. We had gone practiced that entire week, knowing the defense, knowing how they were going to set up. And we basically know like our strong point, with Mark running, come to like probably about our side. If we can keep showing them we're running the ball and just keep pushing them out of the way, and we're going to make it. So it worked out good that way.
Why were we so successful that week compared to other weeks? I mean, Hewlett was an outstanding team, and when you have a back that scores 5 touchdowns, what was the secret of that game?
I think we were a late blooming team. We didn't start on August 24th like everybody else because we only had 14 players coming down to practice. Our team really didn't come together and start to work as a team until somewhere in school started, when we could recruit 15, 16 more kids, so we would have 30 kids at practice. So that put us 3 weeks behind everybody else, and somewhere that was actually the middle of our season where most teams do peak. That's when we did.
Michael, how frustrating was it knowing that at Great Neck South, a lot of kids go off of soccer, but not too many went off of football, and you guys just didn't have the numbers?
It's really frustrating because in the previous years we always had kids that were trying out and they were big, and just this year we had very few kids, very few seniors that were trying out, and it was very frustrating.
What are we looking at here, Coach?
We just third down, and on the 20-yard line, it was 3rd and 15. We decided to quick kick it and pin them down on the 1. This is a great defensive stand where they're on the 2-yard line, 1.5-yard line, and we hold them here, forcing them to punt, give us the ball back to set up our 3rd touchdown.
Looks like the running back had a hard time just getting out of the end zone there.
Yeah, if we could contain them, again, our strength was in the middle with the 2 Messinas and Mark and Greg at nose guard, that most teams would try to get outside, and we just overload the outsides, not let anyone get out there. We would hold them in the middle and contain them.
Michael, you could look at these highlights all day long, right?
Yeah, it's very fun to watch us beat this team on video. It was very important to us. It was even though we had 1 win the whole season, this was like very momentous. It was like we were on an adrenaline rush the whole time.
Yeah, you don't want to go 0-8. I mean, that's one thing you want to avoid. Okay, what do we have here, Coach?
This will be, we just held them down here, got good field position, and 2 or 3 plays, Mark punches in another score.
He's a big, strong runner.
Put your shoulder on, he makes the plays.
That's a more, really pushed him. You can see the offense. It was a great offensive surge. It really moved that line.
That was one of the best performances. They fired out. They stayed with their blocks till the whistle blowed.
There he is, Mark Antar, into the end zone. Is it more special that you beat a playoff team and knock them out of the playoff than beating a 1-7 team? Does that make it more special for you?
Yeah, because it makes us more known that we were a team that actually beat a good team like Hewlett and knocked them out of the playoffs, instead of just beating a team like any other team and just being like, okay,
the Valley Stream Central.
Yeah.
Did you feel more emotion going into that game because you played teams not as talented as Hewlett and the performance wasn't there? Was it something that you just really got fired up for this game?
We definitely got a lot fired up for the game. We went in there with nothing to lose. They went into the game with everything to lose. So, it got us going, knowing that we just, worked really, really hard and we really want it. We could step it up, so we had the potential.
Michael, talk about the fact that, You had to feel Hewlett at that point was 4-2. They had you on the schedule and Garden City coming up. Do you think it was a case where they were just like, thought this game was in the bank, no problem, and they were already thinking about Garden City?
Yeah, they probably thought that they can just blow right over us because we were an 0-6 team. We weren't scoring that much, and they probably just underestimated us, and that was their key flaw to the game.
Coach, I had a feel that Garden City was on their minds that week.
Yes, that was one of the things I told the kids during the week, is that they're not looking at us. They're probably not going to be well prepared for us, that if we were to prepare a little more, we may be able to take advantage of the situation.
Greg, how difficult is it going through a season, 0-4, 0-5, 0-6, coming to practice every day, going to games, but you're not winning games? I mean, I've had a lot of winning teams on. I think it's easy to go to practice and go to games, when you're winning. But how is it when you're going through where you're really struggling? You didn't have the numbers. You got a late start. How was it for you?
Well, we knew at the end of last season that coming into this season was going to be difficult. We knew we weren't going to be like anything like last year. But, me and, Mark, Mike, and Steve, for the love of the game, we wanted to go and play, last senior year. So, it was difficult knowing that we had the potential. We could have been, obviously we should have in the Hewlett game, had a lot of potential, to be good. It just didn't click on, clicked on at certain times. So, maybe some other years.
Michael, we have a lot of, on the shows over the past few weeks, we've had a lot of twin brothers. Talk about what it's been like for you, you and your twin brother Steve, going through this together with a twin brother.
It's great. It's like having yourself on the other side of the ball. Like you can always have confidence that, like, on defense, we're both inside linebackers. He's on the left side, I'm on the right side. I know I have confidence in him that if they run to his side, that he'll make the tackle or either mark or some of that, and he has confidence in me that, it's just like, it's good to know that you have, like, confidence in each other.
We have a funny play on that. We have a 6-go. We call it Messina Massacre. So both the linebackers.
I like that. The Messina Massacre coming up.
So it was nice always having them there. It's good.
Coach, you're going to miss the twins, right?
Definitely. They were a good group of kids. Only having 6 seniors, that was a downfall. But I'll tell you, if you could take 6 kids that really, from day one, came to practice, were dedicated, and really, you question about, tough coming to practice, these kids kept the team together. And to give them that one win and to make it a special win is really the most I can ask for.
Jim, you go into this year, your first year as coaching. You had to have fears throughout the season that, oh my God, I'm going to go 0-8 my first year. So the first win had to be such a relief to get that first win in the bank.
Yes. As the season progressed, and a lot more zeros was stacking up in the win column, it was starting to look bleak. And the Hewlett one it was a great win, and it's something I'll never forget, and I hope it's something that they never forget.
All right, we're going to take a break. You're watching Sports Time with Halftime Howie. We want to thank Michael Messina and Greg Newman. And coming up after the break, the running back, Mark Antar, who scored 5 touchdowns. Michael's twin brother, Steve Messina, will be in the house. Folks, it was the high school upset of the year when Great Neck South stunned Hewlett. More fun coming up. Keep it right here.
In football, you can't score a touchdown without concentrating on the game. In school, it's the same. You need to concentrate to learn, and you can't concentrate on an empty stomach.
A donut and a soda may cut the hunger pains, but they don't give the nutrition you need.
I eat breakfast in the morning so my belly don't start hurting.
Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. It should account for 1/4 of daily required nutrients, especially bone-building calcium.
I'm eating my cereal, my orange juice, and I'm drinking my milk.
You'll get those nutrients from whole grains such as whole wheat bread or cereals, fruits and vegetables, and milk. If your children don't eat breakfast at home, they can take part in the school breakfast program. Even for students who pay full price, the healthy school breakfast is less than half the price of a fast food breakfast.
Make it your goal to see that your kids kick off the school day with a wholesome breakfast.
Welcome back to Sports Time with Halftime Howie, and this was the high school football upset of the year when Hewlett went into this game, a 2-time playoff team, 4-2 against 0-6 Great Neck South. Nobody in the world gave Great Neck South a chance of winning this game, and they stunned the world with a 35-20 victory. Now let's meet the player from Great Neck South who scored all 5 touchdowns in the Great Neck South Big victory, Mark Antar. Mark, how are you?
Good, how are you?
And didn't I just have you on the show? No. I had Michael Messina on the show. Let's meet the other half of the Messina Massacres. Let's meet Steve Messina. Steve, how you doing?
How you doing?
Good. All right. Mark, we'll start with you. There weren't a lot of great highlights at Great Neck South, but you were the star, scored 5 touchdowns against Hewlett. Talk about your great performance against Hewlett where you scored 5 touchdowns.
Oh, it was tremendous. You know, it was really rewarding, especially after a season. You know, we had, a few guys quitting, and, it was a little hard to keep the team together, but, for those like 16 or 17 guys that really came out every day and worked hard, it was, all we could ask for.
Steve, the other half of the twin combination, the Hewlett game will always be remembered by the Messina family. Isn't that true?
Oh yeah, my whole family was there and they was rooting us on the whole game. I mean, even during the game you can hear them just chanting Rebels, let's go Rebels. And I mean, for them being there is great for me, and I believe so for Mike. I mean, they're really a good inspiration for us. They always, talk good about us, telling us how good we played, and they helped us out a lot throughout the whole season.
Coach Jim Morrow, I gotta believe that sports in general, this sends a great message, is that no matter what your record is, no matter who your opponent is, you should always go into a game believing you can win, because crazy things can happen. I think it sends a message that, you shouldn't have won this game based on your record, based on Hewlett's record. Nobody gave you a chance to win. I think it sends a great message that if kids believe, anything can happen at any given time.
Definitely. It also, from a coaching point of view, you try to get your kids to work hard every day in practice. And you tell them that, the hard work's going to pay off. And after a while, when you're 0-6 and they see, they've been working hard and there's nothing coming out of it, for them to come up with a win, you could turn around and say, you see, I told you. And that's a lesson that they'll learn and they'll have for the rest of their life.
Okay, let's look at some more Great Neck South Rebel highlights against the Hewlett Bulldogs.
Yeah, this is another one of Mark's touchdowns. Starting the fourth quarter, this was our first score. It extended from a third quarter drive that went 83 yards and ended up in here, and we go for the 2-point conversion. It was a completion to Messina.
Which one?
Steven.
All right, there you go. At this feeling, Mark, you must be feeling pretty pumped up.
Yeah, we were psyched. I don't know. We saw the whole game turning around. We really saw that, something could happen. So we really just started to believe, and I don't know. It just turned out we got that fumble over there. Things just started happening.
Also, we never gave up. You always kept on pushing, never stopped.
And Hewlett's a team where you can't relax because they're so explosive. I went to a Hewlett game earlier in the season. Hewlett lost to New Hyde Park 36-28. They scored 28 points and did not get 1 first down the whole game. With Castroville hitting Wallstetter for 70-yard touchdown passes, very explosive offense, Coach. You can't relax against a team like Hewlett.
No, you can't. And, even when we were up 28-14, there was some mentioning of, let's try to get some other guys in there. And with 4 minutes left, you can't do that against a playoff team. You can't do that against a good team with players that he has.
Mark, when you had 4 touchdowns, you a little hungry for that 5th one?
Oh, no. No, I just, to be honest.
There you go again.
Yeah.
How many was that?
I think that was number 4.
That was number 4.
Number 4.
I just wanted to get the game over with already.
Really?
It seemed like hours, once we were ahead, we just wanted to eat up the clock and get it going.
What was the feeling like in the locker room, knowing that you beat a tremendous team in Hewlett 35-20, but you scored 5 touchdowns in one game? What was the feeling like right after the game in the locker room? Was it jubilation that you won, or relief that you kind of like broke that streak?
I think it was a combination. You know, also I was very physically. I was finished. You know, so it was sort of like this empty feeling of great joy. You know, and it was wonderful.
Steve, did you feel like you guys were a close-knit of there's a bond on your team because a small group of kids went out, you got a late start, and that all that hard work kind of paid off against Hewlett?
Well, definitely. I mean, throughout the whole season, we had the same kids go to practice, and a select few would choose when to come and when not to come, and we basically, decided. I mean, we didn't exclude them from anything, but we just stuck with ourselves. We stuck with the kids that came to practice, that really loved the sport, that really wanted to play, and they played. And I mean, the hard work that they put in and everyone put in just paid off at the end.
Jim, I got to believe that this victory is going to mean a lot to your program. I think let's look at some more highlights here. But what I was going to say is that last year Hicksville won their last game when they went 1-7, and they took that momentum into this year and won 4 games. So I think you can build off that victory.
Yeah, like I said, towards the end of the season, we started to mature. We started to get the experience. We were a young team, and we were a late bloomer. And I hope that the attitude and the close games we had at the end of the season will help us to carry it over into next year, into our off-season training.
That's Big Mark.
That's Mark on his 5th.
Rick, how did that feel? That last one.
That was huge. That was just. It was amazing.
I think everyone else was more excited than he was. He was so tired.
Mark, look, you were exhausted at that point.
Yeah, I mean, I was really elated, but I was very tired.
You take a lot of hits in that game, right?
Yeah.
We usually try to rest Mark on kickoffs and special teams, and it was 28-14, and the game with only a couple minutes left, he wanted to come off and get some water, and we said, no, not at this time. You're not. You need to stay in there. Suck it up. It's 4 more minutes, and we could have our first win. And he did. He did just that.
Yeah. How about in school? Like when you it had to be great that week in school, knowing that you got some real respect for the kids on the team, and it had to be a great week in school that week, Mark.
Yeah. It was awesome. I mean, most of the time, like I've had a few teachers early in the season come up to me and they ask me, how's the team doing? Like, what's your record? Like, you lost again? And just to get them to ask me like, oh, that was great, you won. Like, how did it feel? How did things go? It was great. It felt really good.
Steve, it would have been a pretty empty feeling to go 0-8 this year. So, but at least you have that one nice victory that you can hang your hat on this year. Isn't that true?
Yeah, I mean, an 0-8 team. I mean, it feels bad. Anyone that loses knows it, and it feels bad. And when you win, especially against a great team, it's just a feeling that you'll never forget, and I'm sure no one else will.
But, Coach, I got to believe even the kids at Jericho, I mean, they went 0-8 and it was publicized that they didn't score a point all year. I give those kids credit that they never quit. To me, it's easy to be a front runner, but when you're losing every week, and you're not scoring, whatever, or having a hard time scoring, just the fact you're practicing, you had kids that quit, I give kids credit in those type of adverse situations that just keep going, that don't give up.
Without a doubt. And, that's something that sports, not just football, but all sports offers that you don't learn in a classroom. Something that's part of a school that kids are educated, and never to give up. And that's a lesson that they'll learn, and it'll make them a better person in the future.
Mark, here's some more. Let's look at some more highlights. But I just want to mention this is that we did a show the week before with Floral Park and Wantaw, and here they were playing in a playoff game. Yet both Floral Park and Wantaw went through seasons in the 90s where they went the whole season without winning a game. Matter of fact, Wantaw went 2 years in a row in the 90s without getting a win, and Floral Park did it in 95. So it just shows you here there's 2 teams that didn't win a game 4 or 5 years ago, and now they're playing in the playoffs. So things have a way of turning around in high school football.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, just like what you said before, I think it was great for our program. It gets people, turns a few heads, and it was exciting. I think it'll definitely, it might help kids come out for the team.
Things can change so quickly. Look at Glen Cove this year, another great story. Last year in '97 they won 1 game. This year Glen Cove is in the Nassau County Championship. Things can change from one year to the next. I'm not saying you're going to be in the Nassau County Championship next year, but programs, if the kids come out and they can build on the successes that you have and stick with it, things can turn around in a hurry.
Yes, and that's what my first year, a lot of things putting in place to try to encourage more kids to come out, to get them a little more focused, to teach them the game maybe at an earlier age, so that when they do get to high school, it's not a first-time experience.
You feel like you built something this year with this victory?
Yeah, I mean, the kids that, the juniors on the team, we had a lot of juniors. And I think that with this win, they'll carry it on to next season and try and have a positive outlook for that season. I mean, they have a bunch of kids now coming in from JV, and with those kids combined, I think they'll have a pretty decent team.
Yeah. Mark, how does it make you feel to, know that you stunned all of Long Island? I mean, I spoke to a lot of people, and everyone was absolutely shocked that you won this game. I mean, just looking at the week before, Hewlett had beat Division. Division was 4-1 going into that game, and the only loss Division had had was to Garden City, and they were 4-1. And Hewlett didn't beat them; they pounded them 35-7. I mean, you know, nobody. How did it make you feel to know that you shocked everyone with that victory?
Again, you know, it felt great. I mean, I'll never forget it. You know, it's going to stay with us. It's going to stay with this program for a long time. And I don't know, that feeling of shock, I don't know. I don't really feel it. You know, like, I mean, people talk about it, but you know, the people that come up to me, it's extremely
Well, I'll tell you,
gratifying.
I was shocked. I called Newsday for the scores. I heard your score. I said, there's got to be something wrong. And I dialed again. I just couldn't believe it. And Jim, when I spoke to you, I mean, you can understand why people were shocked.
Yes, I definitely, you know, all along we said we had some good, decent athletes on the team. And, you know, if it ever clicked, you know, we could have had some more victories. And that day it just happened to click. And, you know, credit to Mark and Steven and Michael and Greg. You know, these are some good athletes, you know, on a very young team where they may not come out with awards or get their name in the paper as much as the other teams. But these are decent football players. You know, these are kids.
What can be done in a community like Great Neck to build that excitement back for football? I mean, with the numbers that low, it's really dangerous because the kids play soccer, they do other things. I mean, having the small amount of kids, it makes it difficult. What can be done in your school to get more kids interested in football?
Well, you got to get the community involved. You got to start them at a younger age. You got to reassure the parents that football is not a real, you know, sport where kids are always going to get hurt. You know, everyone perceives it as being dangerous, and they see these injuries in the NFL, and they watch this stuff on the TV, and you know, we have a close, tight group. You know, we take care of the kids. We you know, we put a lot of effort into it. It's an avenue that kids can go to learn other things besides just math, English, social studies. And
Great. Jim, we've come to the end of the show. I want to thank Jim Morrow. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Mark Antar, congratulations for the upset of the year. And Steve Messina, thank you. Thank you all to Michael Messina and Greg Newman. And let me wrap with this. My name is Halftime. I want to thank you for your time. Please join us next Saturday for another edition of Sports Time with Halftime. But at this time, we are out of time. See you next Saturday.